just got robbed. They admit that. Even a lot of liberal media is admitting it. How does Trump reach out and say, look, they're trying to steal it from me and him? Come to the guy the establishment hates, Goldman Sachs, the big money. They're all against me. Don't be idiots. Hillary's a fascist warmonger. Roger Stone, what do we do?
Well, first of all, Alex, pardon me if I have kind of a Cheshire grin over that performance by Trump, but I'm really happy because he's back on offense. He is breaking through because the mainstream media coverage, even of the Clinton financial crimes, has been inadequate, with the one exception of the New York Times, which has been exceptional. The mainstream media has been disinterested in the biggest two thieves since Bonnie and Clyde. And Trump is going to lay this out chapter and verse for the American people. It is one of Hillary's greatest vulnerabilities. It goes beyond just greed, and that's the issue. I think that's the key word, the epic greed of the Clintons. They've also put our national interests at risk, selling nuclear secrets, or pardon me, military secrets.
Delivery systems.
To the Chinese through Loral. In this case, trading millions of dollars with the Russians and the Chinese and the Saudis, as Trump said. So I was very glad to see Trump pivot. I think Trump University is behind us. Now, even that is an outrage, because I now know more than the last time I was with you, Alex. Laureate Education is a multi-billion-dollar Wall Street scam in which Bill took $16 million in fees. We don't know what he took in stock options because it's never been disclosed. And shortly thereafter, Hillary laid $150 million in federal money on Laureate Education, a failing chain of schools.
Sure. I mean, their program is to be totally criminal to a level where they're interconnected so they can never go down. His Skype just went down, so that's why I'm interrupting here. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just so over the top. Our audience knows about all this corruption, though. And then we now know what I said weeks ago has been confirmed. The judge has connected all these La Raza groups, heads some of them up. The media thinks you're so dumb. They go, oh, the La Raza Lawyer Guild has no connection to La Raza. It runs it. It created it. And again, hey, white supremacists want to be in those groups. Mexican supremacists want to be in these groups. The white supremacists think their group's good, too. People in La Raza think they're good. Folks have to stand up against this. We're going to get his Skype reconnected. We're getting back on phone. You want to go? His number right here. We can just call him right now. And I know you don't have to even pull it out of the computer. We can just do it that way. But I want to talk about exactly. I know Stone's been advising Trump to be more aggressive. I know Trump's creating dossiers. That's what Nichols wanted to talk about yesterday. He's talking to him. They're vetting everything to really go whole hog against the Clintons. And I would go after him on Fast and Furious because they act like she's not involved in that. She ran that out of the State Department. And that's what Fast and Furious really was arms to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And that's how Benghazi and Fast and Furious, with the Mexican gun running from the U.S. into Mexico, that's how they connect, because the gun running was only a cover to blame the Second Amendment, but that was an overall cover for a larger mission that was to get guns to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, which is anything the globalists do, always has these multi-facets. I'll call him. We've got Stone is back on phone. Okay, we have him back. Roger, good to have you back with us, my friend. Go ahead.
So, Alex, I would confess to be exhausted. As you know, I got to New York earlier this week. So I really think that that this new initiative by Trump puts him on offense, because this race is not about Donald Trump. He hasn't been running the country for 30 years, and he hasn't been running it as a continuation. So this is a referendum on Hillary. It must be. There are two, I think, cornerstones in this fight. Two books that every American needs to read. One is Clinton Cash by Peter Schweizer, which is a masterpiece showing how the Clintons are epically greedy and how they have gamed the system to line their pockets. And then, of course, there's the Clintons' War on Women, which outlines Hillary's epic abuse of Bill's sexual assault victims.
And that's your book, available at InfoWarsStore.com. Let me just digress with my questions, because I know you're way above me politically and understanding all this, but from a lay perspective, I have the New York Daily News, Politico and others admitting that Hillary stole this from Sanders and he was the real guy and the superdelegates robbed him. Don't we make a big deal out of that and reach out to the third of the Sanders people that you talked about who aren't total communist idiots and say, come on, go for Trump? Isn't that the big drive? If Trump came out and said, hey, Sanders got robbed, they're trying to rob me, go with me?
He actually said it last night. I think the exact quote is, to those Bernie Sanders systems who believe the nomination was rigged by superdelegates, we welcome you with open arms. Now, he said this right after he made the point that both he and Sanders oppose the globalist trade deals like NAFTA and TPP that have destroyed the American job market. And we know that he and Bernie Sanders are both non-interventionists, not neocons, as Hillary Clinton is. So I think there's a real opportunity there. That is why the Soros crowd is trying to smear Trump as a bigot and a racist, because those left-leaning votes will go to Trump if they don't disqualify Trump by smearing him.
Man, I just hope some of the liberals aren't idiots. I mean, how obvious is this, that the whole power structure hates Trump?
Well, look, there was a lot of piling on last week because we got sidetracked in the ridiculousness of the Trump University case. This is a political case. This is a peanut compared to the multi-million-dollar theft in the for-profit education.
And so Trump only took the bait in that he debated that instead of ignoring it and moving on, even though he's right about the judge, it's a side trail.
He's right about the entire thing, but I am of the theory that anytime Trump is not talking about Hillary Clinton's failed record, her abuse of women, or her corruption, or her incompetence, or her lying, and that he isn't talking about trade and immigration and our ridiculous fiscal situation and our broken...
I totally agree. So let me try to influence Trump right now, because I know, obviously he has his people out there watching talk to him. My listeners talk to him. You talk to him. I've talked to him before here on air. What about the fact that I see him talk about Benghazi, but not Fast and Furious? She ran that through the State Department. That was really gun running to Mexico. This has been proven now. Judicial Watch proved it. We had it before it was even in Judicial Watch. And guns are being sent to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. I think he should tie Benghazi and that together, and then she's done. Once you tie it to that, that ties the guns in, her coming after the guns, with giving guns to Al-Qaeda. She sent guns to Al-Qaeda and ISIS while trying to get our guns. I mean, boom. I think that's a great idea.
Well, I agree with Alex. It's only June. And we have a long campaign ahead of us. It's not like there is a lack of material when it comes to the incompetence or the treachery of the Clintons. Or these issues will be spelled out one by one.
Sure. Let's talk about some private stuff. What a tiger you are. I was there when you got the word that your mom wasn't probably going to make it. Was about to go on morphine, and you said this will be the last time I probably talked to her. You went and talked to her, and then sure enough, you were right about that. And here you are still fighting hard. It's funny, we usually wear suits or sports jackets. I'm wearing a blue shirt. You're wearing a blue shirt today when you were on the show on Skype. So I guess you're kind of in battle mode, but kind of relaxing a little bit. So I know you've been through a lot, my friend.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Alex, and everybody there at InfoWars for the beautiful flowers you sent in honor of my mother.
You bet.
If you knew Olivia Soprano, you knew my mother. Tough, Sicilian, opinionated, determined, a patriot, and the saddest thing about her passing is it will be one less vote for Donald Trump. So we miss her, but she went down fighting, and I thank the literally thousands of people from InfoWars or from Twitter or from Facebook who sent me their condolences. It has meant a great deal to Mrs. Stone and I. So,
sure, you didn't really make it public. I kind of did without your permission, so I'm sorry if that was a problem. But I just want to talk about behind the scenes. You talking to your mom for the last time and then coming in here and, doing those interviews on Saturday. Well,
the truth is, Alex, when I'm writing, I don't wear a suit. I know a lot of people think I wear a suit to bed, that I wear a suit every day. But and now I am working on a number of issue memos. And I've written a terrific piece on Huma Abedin for Breitbart, which will be posted momentarily.
Oh, Hillary's girlfriend?
Well, I'm more concerned about the fact that...
The Muslim connection?
Yes, she's seen all of the...
Yeah, I don't care if Hillary's got 2 or 3 girlfriends. The issue is this woman works for Iran, basically, right?
Well, I think she works for the Saudis. And one of the things that I learned was that prior to her either hooking up with the Clintons, she buys a very expensive home in the Washington suburbs, and the handbags that she's carrying go for about $1,500 a piece. Her parents are academics. She has an enormous amount of money, which is a trademark of a spy, interestingly enough. She edits radical Muslim journals in college. Her family is tied to groups that are tied to bin Laden. I lay it all out for Breitbart. Now, the last person to do this was a reporter at Vanity Fair. Of course, he was savagely attacked by Media Matters for America. I found the Media Matters for America piece on Huma. 22 lies, falsehoods, complete obfuscations of the truth. So I think it should be untruthfulness matters for the folks over at MMFA.
Sure, I knew she was connected to the Saudis, but also to the Iranians. I mean, this lady just is off the chart, I mean, as a spy. I mean, the evidence pointing towards it. And then Hillary accidentally for years with this server saying put secret stuff. She knows everything she's doing is being watched. It sounds to me like it's instead of dropping the package under the park seat to the Russians or the Chinese or everybody, she just does it openly on the damn server and then gets money in her foundation.
The biggest problem, though, is that, or one of the most notable things, is that Huma is the only person in the State Department to receive a special waiver that allowed her to not only get a full-time salary at state at the highest level, but also to be paid by Teneo Strategies, the same place where Ed Rollins, who claims he's running a pro-Trump super PAC, works, at a Clinton-connected lobbying entity, while she's triple-dipping at the Clinton Foundation. At the same time, she and Cheryl Mills are the two women who go through all of Hillary's emails and decide what we can see and what we can't see. Now, since we know that there's classified and top secret information in the emails, Huma, who's most likely a spy for a foreign government, has had full access to all that classified material. As an American, I find that troubling.
Well, I'm just speechless at this point, Roger Stone. How is the power elite? I know there's different elites and different combines, but they all meet, you know, like the mafia and decide which way to go, and sometimes have wars if they don't. How do the Clintons just get away with anything and everything and so flagrant? She looks completely insane on television. She has more baggage than a baggage train, more skeletons than the biggest mausoleum on the earth, than the catacombs of Rome. I mean, I just don't get it. They're going to really put this woman in for 4 to 8 years who literally beats up men and chews the carpet. She's so hateful. And she looks like she's about to die. I mean, what is the elite thinking? What does she have on them?
Well, I think that they unfortunately are trapped in the past. It was definitely much easier to conceal their crimes and what they were really like as people when we only had 3 television networks and a handful of national newspapers, the good old 80s. So if the Washington Post caught on to their corruption or heard from a Secret Service agent that Hillary had thrown a marble ashtray at Bill and grazed his cheek, that story could be suppressed. Today, those stories can't be suppressed. And I just don't think the Clintons understood that we are now going to re-adjudicate all of their greatest hits. Travelgate, Vince Foster, Filegate, the Mark Rich pardons, Monica Lewinsky.
Fast and Furious. Obamacare was her brainchild. Everything is her. Everything. This woman squatting on us.
Libya, Benghazi, but the overthrow of Gaddafi and the fact that women in Libya have been put back 200 years.
Sure. You're here. Listen. You're here covering topics and info. You know, my audience is one of the most informed out there, but they love hearing the facts to be able to tell others. But they know it. What about a little bit of, not inside baseball, but Trump looks totally energized. The courage he's got, he's super smart. The gloves are off. There's bare knuckles on now. I know you are in New York. I mean, this is just an amazing time. What else can you tell us just about this phenomenon and where it's going and other tidbits?
Well, as we've discussed on the show a number of times, Trump used a communications-based strategy to win the nomination, and it turned out to be brilliant. The campaign is now struggling to build the kind of organization, guerrilla as it may be, to contend. But we are late in some areas. For example, coalition building. Greeks for Trump, dentists for Trump, lawyers for Trump, airline pilots for Trump, Irish Americans for Trump, evangelical Christians.
Latinos for Trump.
Latinos for Trump. These groups, there's so much grassroots enthusiasm in many cases, when activists just couldn't wait for the campaign anymore to name a coordinator and put it together, they've gone out to do it themselves. There is a very broad reach